What's behind a neighborhood? What's going on beyond in those corridors of power where they birth all the new dawns? Who's making these decisions about resources on my block? Who's fixing all the potholes and setting all the clocks? Chicago is a beautiful beast that breathes with the wind, but pours more money into Buckingham Fountain than health clinics on its south end. So while there's much to celebrate, there's also much to mourn. For every pot of gold that builds downtown, there's babies being born. We'll never make it to see the lake because our crazy city's torn into north, south, and west, into those with jobs and all the rest, into activists and organizers rocking fear-proof vests, and mighty decision makers who surely try their best, but still think they can feed our young ones with standardized tests. What will it take to put the oppressive policies to rest? Are we waiting for some bill to reach Obama's desk? Is it the signatures of men that will reclaim Chicago's destiny? When the lake looks to the city, does it see the edge of man? The brutalities and the beauties, both made by his hands. Does it see waves of human motion, powered by the moon? Or women whispering to their children as they rest inside their wombs? Does it see the secrets of politicians creeping from their tombs, or the courage of the youth who march against the doom? Does it see spaces left by projects wrecked in dynamite booms, or misplaced hopes in a future fueled by vast Olympic booms? Does the lake plead for the neighborhoods to come together in her name, to fight against the displacement that brings all of us shame? If we listen to the wind, can we hear the water's call? Is she crying out for all of us, dark, light, short, and tall? Is she demanding Chi-Town's freedom? Does she want it by the fall? After all, what's the use of being free when it's 20 degrees below? So rise up from Roseland to Uptown to defend Chicago.
What's up, guys? I'm B-Boy Ben 10. Right now we're walking in Chicago. I just want to take a minute and tell you a couple stories about some travels that I had recently, a couple months ago. You know, I had the fortunate opportunity to live in South Korea for over a year. The breakdancing scene is pretty big over there. And I was able to develop as a b-boy. I was able to take the skills that I learned from South America, transfer them into South Korea. And while I was over there, I decided to take some time and think about what I want to do when my time in Korea is finished. I thought to myself, oh, why not take a breakdancing journey through Africa and the Middle East? I found that b-boying is an incredible tool to connect with other cultures, break down barriers, just uplift people and unite people together. So from Korea, I escaped an incredible breakdancing scene. Once I got to South Africa, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have any friends, didn't have any connections. I didn't know anything or anybody down there. I just knew that I wanted to connect with people through breakdancing. I knew that if I made myself vulnerable, I could meet people. I could share positive interaction. As I set off, by the ways of the internet, I was able to link up with a hip-hop legend of South Africa. His name is Emil YX Jansen. He taught me a lot about b-boying, taught me a lot about the history of South Africa, and most of all, he taught me about racism that exists over there.
I can go somewhere and like people will be like, you know, hey, is that your real hair? Can I touch that? And you just imagine like that's like a very visual, superficial version of racism. You know what I mean? Where people are like, it's something new, something different. You know what I mean? So like, maybe what you know of something, you create this whole impression around. Like if my hair is associated with a bunch of like gangsters, then like I'll be a gangster too. You know what I mean? So like the generalization of it, which is kind of fucked up. But that's how society is. Whenever something stands out and is different, like different doesn't mean it's okay. Different is like you don't look like us. This must be something wrong with you.
Right, right.
So whole society is like, you know, like open. And South Africa's got a history of like so many years of apartheid. For them to expect this without any equal and opposite force to counter the racism, to just go away as being so unrealistic. I mean, there's no programs put into effect to be that equal and opposite force to apartheid. So apartheid just travels on constantly. So like then they get shocked in the newspapers when like members of parliament say something stupid. Of course they're racist. We're all racist. You know, man. You grow up in a racist world, obviously you're going to be racist. It's actually acknowledging, like an alcoholic,
For
that you
sure.
have a problem.
For sure.
You know, and like apartheid anonymous. Racist anonymous. You got to like acknowledge I'm a racist, but I'm trying to change it. I'm becoming racist. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
And that's the thing over here. Like if you say like yeah, I have racist tendencies because of society, but like what's wrong with you? It's always about race with you guys. But it is about race. You know, if you grew up and you think that all coloreds are a bunch of gangbangers or don't have their front teeth or that they, you know, all belong to the club, so because of the limited knowledge you know of colored people, then you were racist. And if I think that all white people are a bunch of like members of the KKK, that's extreme fucking racist because it's generalization.
Definitely. I mean, just like many other nations, South Africa's rooted in racism, you know, and you got to uncover that.
Yeah.
To make any steps forward.
Even not talking about it isn't going to solve.
Right.
Way to see people internalize it.
So after talking to Emil, I had the opportunity to go with him to a place called Mitchell's Plain, a very underserved community in South Africa, Cape Town. In Mitchell's Plain, there was a hip-hop fest going on, a hip-hop park jam. It was my first opportunity to break specifically in Africa. While I was there, I was able to connect with a lot of people, continue learning about South Africa, and see the hip-hop environment going on in that country. So after my time in Mitchell's Plain, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. But there was a part of me that didn't feel complete afterward. I decided to go on this trip to connect with people, but not through an event, not through some sort of festival, but on the street level, in a natural environment. So I decided it's time for me to go to public spaces, breakdance in the street. Maybe I'll get some funny looks, maybe I won't. They always say, dance like nobody's watching. But this time I want to dance like people are watching. From there, I set off onto Johannesburg. Took a 20-hour train ride over there. First and foremost, I connected with B-Boys once I got to Johannesburg. Spent some time at a jam while I was there. I decided to head over to a public space, specifically a park that goes by the name of Joubert Park in Johannesburg. I was able to get down on the street in this park, got a lot of funny looks, but fortunately, people found interest in it. One arm is up, one arm's down. Very good. On your head.
Like this? Like this? Yeah. Like this?
Good one. Try it again. Oh, you got it. Woo. Nice. No hands. This leg here. Step. Go high. Step. So I had a good time interacting with the kids in the park and the people in the park in Johannesburg. But something inside me made me feel like I forced it too much. It didn't feel natural when I wanted it to be natural. So from Johannesburg, I decided to take a good 7-hour bus ride to Maputo, the capital of Mozambique. Once I got to Mozambique, I looked around the capital city and it was just mayhem on the streets. I wanted to dance in public, but I couldn't find any places to dance in public. So I got a little discouraged.
Yeah.
After doing some thinking, I realized to let myself go. Not worry about it so much. Take that stress of wanting to be vulnerable off my chest and to just let life unfold naturally in front of me. I was able to make friends with a guy who goes by the name of Antoninho, one of the sweetest people I've ever met. He's a Mozambican, very kind guy, taught me a lot. We didn't speak English with each other. We actually spoke a mixture of Portuguese and Spanish, Portuñol, if you will. Now, Antoninho was kind enough to invite me to his brother's house in a tough neighborhood in Maputo. He goes by the name of Chipamenine. I know it's a mouthful, but I had a great time in Chipamenine. Upon finishing some dinner that I had with Antoninho, we ended up stepping outside. And as I stepped outside of his brother's house, I saw a group of kids and adults looking at me. And for some odd reason inside, I was like, I kind of want to do a handstand. Otra. Okay. Okay? Dois.
Para trás.
Atrás. Atrás. Atrás.
Option.
Atrás.
Mas o que na frente das tuas?
Não estou ali.
A donzeli, o camarim. Okay, see.
I got to Malawi, and I had a friend there that I made through the internet, couchsurfing.com, where he allowed me to stay at his house. Now, at that point in my trip, I was happy that I brought my bicycle from Chicago with me, as the capital of Malawi, Lilongwe, is very big. Everybody's spread out. There's many sections to the city that are connected by long roads, and there's a main downtown area. Yeah. When I was in Malawi, I learned about the power of a smile. The people in Malawi were so kind. You see big smiles everywhere you went. People riding their bicycles, waving at me and smiling. Man, I just want to smile at everybody when I was out there. Now, fortunately, in Mozambique, I learned that, man, I don't need to pressure myself so much to connect with people. I can be just fine carrying on with life and letting things happen naturally in front of me. And I did just that when I was in Malawi. I ended up finding a group of guys playing soccer on the street. Another love of mine, playing soccer. From there, we started to dance together. Had a great time, shared a great positive experience with everybody, and was able to spread some love that way. Man, from riding my bicycle to sharing smiles to breakdancing to playing soccer, I couldn't have been happier with my time in Malawi. So from that point on, I decided, okay, continue letting life unfold in front of me, continue smiling at people, continue loving others that I don't even know, continue sharing breakdance. I headed towards Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I hopped the bus for 30 hours. Side note, the bus's name was Mashallah, good God willing, in Arabic. I got to Tanzania, it was about 1 in the morning, I found a hotel, ended up crashing in a nice air-conditioned room. Woke up the next morning, hopped on my bicycle again, rode around the city, and continued to stay vulnerable, keep this disarming nature. Continue to use breakdancing as my art to specifically connect with others. Hey, Jumbo.
Jumbo.
All right. Hey. Nice, brother. I found a place near a little kiosk or a small supermarket where I could grab a quick water, just relax, seek some shelter. As I was relaxing outside of that kiosk, I ended up seeing a group of people just hanging out in the street, just filled with energy. Decided, why not get down a little bit? So I did some swipes in the middle of the road, just for fun. Just felt right at the time. After doing that, and comparing my time in Malawi to Tanzania, I saw a strong difference. While in Tanzania, the culture on the street resembled that of what you could find in Chicago or many places in the United States. I didn't get as many smiles. Instead, I got a lot of people just looking at me and acknowledging that I was doing something. I had to break that down a little bit, or at least I felt like I needed to at the time. Drogba!
Wa kwetu jamani, wabongo huyo.
I was happy to have had my time in Chicago interacting in different neighborhoods within this city. If I didn't have that time, I would have felt pretty uncomfortable when I was interacting on the street in Dar es Salaam. I understand that people don't show and express the smiles and enthusiasm that I received in Malawi. That it's not because they're not interested in what I'm doing, but more that it's a protection thing, to keep yourself guarded. I mean, there's enough oppression that goes on over there. There's enough problems that cause people to block themselves off. Now, while I was there, I still had a great time. I was able to teach some guys how to break dance. I was able to speak to the community while I was over there and why I was there. Following my time in Dar es Salaam, I met a group of acrobats that go by the name of Art African Culture.
Our group go by the name Art African Culture Group. And since we have started, we have only 1.5 years. And also here we have a center which we train kids all about arts, skills and movement. We are playing acrobatics, we are playing traditional music, traditional dance, poems, and the stage performance drama. here, as I said before, our aim is to improve and to have a big center, which we're gonna do all the stuff of training as a way to create a job opportunity to the group of youth and the children who are the tomorrow generation. Because here we have a problem with unemployed. So many youth here remain in the street and they fell into drugs, prostitutions, also into thief and others lost in jail because of some obstacles, as I said.
Group taught me a lot about the life on the streets in Dar es Salaam. Taught me a lot about how to connect with people in different ways as well. They have a great organization over there. They're doing some very amazing things, and I've seen how they touch the lives of a lot of children in Dar es Salaam. Everybody in the group carries a very strong heart, a lot of passion, a lot of will to connect with the people around them. They're an inspiration for me. I was happy to have this experience, and after spending a few weeks with them, I decided to step over to a different land. I sped up my journey. Instead of going overland from Cape Town all the way to Palestine, I decided to fly from Dar es Salaam to Cairo. Once I got to Cairo, I entered a brand new culture, brand new territory, and had plenty to experience while I was there. When I got to Egypt, I didn't know what to expect. I watched a lot of news before I went there, and I felt a little nervous because I was an American. But, that's what the news does to you. It makes you think how you shouldn't think. Turns out when I was there, I was welcomed with open arms. People immediately asked me, "Are you a journalist?" I'd say, "No, I'm not a journalist, I'm just a tourist." "Well, where are you from?" So much of me wanted to say Canada, but I couldn't lie. I just straight up said, "I'm American. I'm from the United States, Chicago." People say, "Wow, Chicago? That's amazing. Welcome. We're glad you're here." I felt so comfortable, even right there in Tahrir Square. Now, following my time in Tahrir Square, I ended up hitting the streets. I was able to meet a lot of people and let life unfold naturally in front of me. I remained vulnerable, continued smiling, continued hoping to interact with people. I interacted with people through breakdance and soccer so many times. One time in specific, I went to a place called Mar Girgis, a neighborhood in Cairo. I had the fortunate opportunity to interact with a lot of people on the street out there. Hey, Juan. You take pictures and do video?
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's do it.
امريكا شيكاغو.
شيكاغو.
تقول لي ايه؟
خد مفلة تتفرج عليه. فين المفلة اللي بيصور؟
كريستيانو صور
I had a great time in Egypt. I was happy to have spent a couple weeks there, just about a month or so. From Egypt, I ended up hopping a bus to Palestine. It was an interesting route. To get to Palestine, I had to cross through Israel. Once I stepped into Israel, man, it was completely different. I was treated very unkindly. I had a very difficult time getting around. I was overcharged for many things. Once I caught a bus to Jerusalem, I hopped another bus to Ramallah, a major city in Palestine. Life changed completely once I entered Palestine. The kindest, nicest, sweetest, most welcoming people I have ever met once I got there.
جميل. هذا بشوط على غفلة. يابا يابا طاير والله لا والله لا انا نسوي احلى يوم مع هذا. يلا يا بيي زي السحلية وتفحلك جمال. بن جميل
I learned so much from Palestinians. I learned how to welcome people with open arms and to be kind and giving and sharing. Palestine's an interesting place as it's scattered, okay? You have to take many different roads through the mountains to get to different cities, oftentimes with Israeli checkpoints stopping your car and hassling you for hours on end. Fortunately, I was able to stay in a place called Gelazon Camp. It's a refugee camp based just outside of Ramallah. In this camp, I was able to become friends with a lot of people and be exposed to many things happening and many different opportunities to interact with people and have a good time.
You can't see me.
انت كلك ترفع في الجو يا حبيبي يلا بالعكس بالعكس ايوه مرة مش مرة عملت نطني كم شايفك اي نطني
Spending time in Palestine, I was able to experience a lot of interesting things. Most of all, I saw the blatant and unfair, unkind, and unjust treatment of Palestinians there. They really live in pretty difficult situations with this occupation that's going on. Now, people there are just kind and welcoming. Everybody is just very friendly to me and gave me plenty of opportunity to speak what I had on my mind for them to share what they had on their minds. So my time in Palestine was coming to an end. Couldn't have been happier with my time there as well. You know, this trip was amazing. I learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about different cultures. The people that I interacted with taught me so much. It was amazing. I learned that I can do anything, really. You know, if I want to have that positive social interaction with people, I can do it. I don't need an organization. I don't need somebody holding my hand and telling me what to do. That if I love people, I can do that. I can use my art. You can use your art. Mine is breakdancing. If yours is taking pictures, be vulnerable, be disarming. Let a stranger hold your camera. See what happens. I continue doing the same thing in the city of Chicago, and I plan on continuing and doing that for the rest of my life. Be disarming, be vulnerable, be yourself, love people, smile. The best thing about this is, I'm not a professional breakdancer. Actually, to be quite vulnerable, to be quite honest, I'd most likely lose in most battles. I love to breakdance. It's what I do. That's what makes me feel good. It's how I live. So do what you love and love others through what you do. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a beautiful day.
From the investment banking yogis to the babies that break dance. From those born with silver spoons to those awaiting their second chance. There are maps in your movements and guides in your bones. When you follow them, you'll realize that none of us are alone. And none of us are the same. We each have our own molecules, but we share L trains. And if we dare to go there, we can share the mind frame. That there's no real growth for our city unless there's impact on the streets.